Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. Get some weed now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
What Tillman said?
No, I did not.
Oh, yeah, he's still at work.
Oh, yeah. Hello, everybody, and welcome in to another episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. 'Tis I, Colton Robertson, and you have returned for the Sarlacc Soundwave. This is episode 3, and we cover the Book of Boba Fett every week. This week, chapter 3, The Streets of Mos Espa. We are the Fett's Fuckboys, and I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
What up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you, and I am also joined today by Miles Buttress. What's up, homie?
Doing good. Always happy to join for, some bullshit.
Oh, I love some bullshit.
Spewing some bullshit.
Just
always
spewing
happy
the
to
shit
join.
everywhere. The shit's going everywhere. It's coming out of our mouths. I'm sorry for that image. But let's talk the Book of Boba Fett, baby. Sadly, today we can't be joined by Kyler or Tillman, which is a shame. However, the show must go on.
Both incredibly fake, doing something called work. God.
Ugh. Bettering themselves? Ugh.
Imagine.
Nah, but let's talk. We got Chapter 3, The Streets of Mos Espa, original air date January 12th, 2022, written by Jon Favreau and directed by Robert Rodriguez. All in all, I'm feeling pretty good about this episode, and all in all, I'm feeling really good about this show so far. I think this episode was another solid addition. It didn't quite stack up to last week's episode for me, just because last week's episode was like some of my favorite Star Wars content of all time. And like I said last week, I don't think they'll match it. But I did like this more than the premiere. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a step up from there. Miles, how you feeling?
Similar vein, really enjoyed it. I think this week last week we got the, because how long are these episodes? Like 40 minutes, give or take?
Yeah, the first and this one are like 35 minutes, and
yeah.
the middle one
so
was 50
30 to
something.
Yeah, so 30 to 50 minutes. Last week we got, like 10 to 15 minutes of we're on Tatooine today, and then 40 minutes of 5, 10, however many years ago. And so that was we got a lot of backstory, and that's why I think we all really enjoyed it. It was all the Tusken Raiders, what's happening with them, and that it was really cool. This week we got a lot more of we got a little bit of flashback, but we really didn't get that long.
Yeah, we got
flashbacks.
I think we got ultimately 4 or 5 minutes total.
We
of
got
flashback.
because as we were getting into it, it got interrupted by something, and so it was very different from the last episode, because the first episode I felt like was very 50-50. And half of it was current, half of it was flashback. Second episode was, 80-20. This episode was 20-80. And so it was very different. And I very much enjoyed it. I enjoyed that we got a little bit of flashback. I really want more flashback, because I want to see what happens. Because we're at such cool points, and I just want to see, to an extent, I wish it would almost just be we're just going to give you 3 episodes of all flashback, and then 3 episodes of all now.
Right.
But they're not going to do that, and I know they're not going to, but I want it to happen, because I don't want to wait to know what happens.
Yeah, I'm with you. And
so I feel like, they're gonna keep, keeping us on edge as to, they're gonna, fill us in on what happens and then get us right to the edge of something cool, and they're gonna be like, fuck you. We're gonna go talk about something else now.
Yeah.
We're gonna make you wait. And so that's what they kind of did with the flashbacks, because they got to, what happened?
What happened?
And what happened? And then they were like, all right, nope. Now we're going to talk about something different now. And then I think next week they're going to talk about current stuff, get us to the point where we're like, well, what's going to happen? And they're going to be like, bitch.
Flashback. Well, that's the thing about the flashbacks, that they always they have to come at a point and which Boba is ready for them to happen because they only happen when he goes to the back to tank. So, like, presumably anything that is about to lead into a flashback should be concluded. Hopefully, like, it won't just be like and we're in a flashback now. Which is one of the things that I have really appreciated about the series is that they are that it's not like we're all of a sudden in a flashback. You kind of have to catch up that's what's happening. Yeah. Like that
it's not like
with other stuff.
We're chasing down the mayor through the streets. Ha, psych, bitch.
Like I'm not paralleled with Boba also doing some sort of chase in the past. Like it's just two separate stories unfolding at two different rates, and that's it.
I do agree with you. I like that they're like, you only get the flashbacks when you go to the back to tank.
Right.
So this part's done. We're gonna go. They're going back to the whatever it's called. What's their like base called?
Jabba's palace.
Is that? I felt like there was some
palace.
It's Boba's palace.
Boba's palace now. Yeah, they go back to Boba's palace, and you're like, all right, we're getting the flashback pretty soon here.
Yeah, exactly. But Joe, how you feeling overall about this episode?
Cut the slander, everybody. Chill your, get your panties out of the twist. Open your mind to some better Boba content, because this is better Boba content than if you were just to be
aligned to some BBC.
Like, all we had a Boba before was mindless killer, bounty hunter guy. Cool. Now we're having this rich content, backstory, beautiful story of a man climbing out of a Sarlacc's stomach and then taking, to become a crime boss. This dude's insane. And if you're not excited about it and you're not, all for this, then I don't know what to tell you. Hop out of the bandwagon of just wanting him to be a mindless killer. It's coming, but it's not what this show's about.
And it's not mindless. See, that's the thing, is that, like, the quote, this isn't the Boba I know. What fucking Boba do you know? We've known this dude for like 15 total minutes, okay?
Listen, I know the Boba that picked up his father's helmet with his head still inside, and then immediately went on a blood-fueled rampage
from
and
that
killed
day
everyone.
On. Nothing mattered to him. Yeah, no, but this I don't know. This was I like this episode a lot. I don't know. I just thought a lot of very cool information was dropped, like what happened during Fortuna's reign. How it was like all divided up instead of all just controlled by the Hutts, which was pretty cool to hear. We got the freaking, I don't know his name, Black Wookiee.
Chrysanthemum.
Yeah, like, I mean, a little early and not exactly what we were expecting, which, like, okay.
Right.
But
no, I thought this was like an end of season 1v1. I didn't anticipate, and very effectively did not anticipate, because this was a bigger jump scare than we've ever had in Star Wars. Because I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, and a lot of people were upset. They were like, oh, Chrysanthemum in the comics would have absolutely ripped everyone in half in that room. And, like, cool. But, like, would you want that to happen? Would you want him to rip Boba in half right now? No. Yes. Would you want him to rip Fennec in half? No.
And that's
maybe, like,
that's the problem with Star Wars. Like, the stereotypical Star Wars fan worried way, way too much about the logic of it and not the story mechanics of it. Logically, yes, the giant Wookiee tears everyone to shreds. Okay, why didn't Chewbacca do that at every possible turn? Because it's not his fucking story, guy.
Well, and also, two things. One, Chewbacca's bigger than this dude, I feel like.
You think?
Like, this
he's
dude's
taller.
like,
I'd say he's taller.
Yeah, this
for
dude's
sure.
thick, but Chewbacca's like a giant. Because, like, that was the whole thing, is like, when in the original trilogy, Chewbacca was played by a dude who was like 7 feet tall. And also
Chewbacca's
was wearing
7 foot 5.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was like 7 feet tall, and then was also wearing like heels in the costume in order to be tall enough. This dude is not 7 feet tall. He's like the same height as Boba Fett, and I don't think Boba Fett. I don't think Tamara Morrison
he towered over Boba.
What's the guy's name? What's the guy's name again?
Black Chrysanthemum. Krsantan.
He is.
Yeah, see, that's also the thing. Like in the comics, it shows him as like, because like I'm literally looking at a comic panel right now. I don't know who he's standing over, but he is like standing over someone. Like they're coming up to like his like pecs, and this is like a full grown dude. That was not the case. Like he is the same height as one of the people carrying the litter in, or a little bit taller than one of the people carrying the litter that's hunched over a little bit in the Book of Boba Fett. This is not like, we're not talking about like a 7'5" Wookiee right now.
No, yeah, and I mean, like, regardless, I have no interest in him killing Boba when he bear hugs him. Like, that's not something I want. And they make it clear that this was not easy for anybody. He held off 2 Gamorrean guards, 4 cyber enhanced Tatooinean kids. He fought off 2 of the most badass bounty hunters that's ever existed.
A master bounty hunter and a master assassin.
Like, that's the thing. Is like, okay, maybe Black Chrysanthemum should tear apart everybody in this room. It's also 8 versus 1.
Yeah.
He was fucking them up.
And he was not losing the fight. Like,
no,
they just got lucky in terms of where he was standing. That's all.
If anything, I would almost make the argument and say a master assassin. And well, okay, you know what? In all fairness, Boba Fett was naked and had none of his things that make him somewhat good.
He got pulled out of his back to tank.
And also, you know, he was fighting after having the proverbial bucket of ice water thrown on him after being in a deep slumber. Right. You know, like how well are you going to fight after?
He didn't have much traction. You know, his feet were all wet. He couldn't really get.
It's like not even wet. It's like that slimy back.
I was going to say, so it's like there's no way a Bacta tank's just water. That has to be like some goo. But like I would almost say like in a straight up fight, I feel like if you put them both in armor, I feel like no way Boba Fett and Fennec Shan lose to this dude.
No way.
They're literally 2 masters at their craft. I don't care if he's some other bounty hunter and he's a Wookiee.
I don't know though. He did get stabbed like 5 times and he didn't budge a bit. Had that stick in him too. And Boba took it out of him, then stabbed his leg. Dude was just fine.
Well, okay, he budged. He just so happened to budge and then go, hey, fuck out of here, and backhand Boba Fett across the room.
Pretty lethal. But would you guys like to jump into a scene-by-scene breakdown here?
Let's do that.
Alrighty. Yeah. All right. So, we open with one of those little fucking spider things that we see in Return of the Jedi walking in the background behind like R2-D2 and C-3PO. Walking around here like full-blown live-action CGI and shit.
Apparently those are like, they're old monks that completely have distanced themselves from their body, and it's just their brain in that red goo, and it's literally their monks like crawling around Tatooine.
I thought you were gonna say that they just like they completely abandoned their body and just became spiders.
No, like pretty much.
Like Bomar Order Brainwalker.
It's a mechanical spider that their brain is in.
A Bomar Order Brainwalker. The Bomar Order. So the Bomar Order, which consisted of Bomar monks, was a religious order that believed in isolating themselves from all physical sensation to enhance the power of their minds. To that aim, enlightened monks had their brains transplanted into nutrient-filled jars. Whenever they wanted to move, those bottled brains used spider-like droid walkers, older monks using 4-legged walkers, while more recent ones using 6-legged ones.
So, knowing that, they were around to like see what Jabba was doing everything. I feel like they're going to be like a council or like give advice or something to Boba.
No shit.
Because like I don't know if they can speak. I don't know. Like I have all I know is that they're monks and their brains are in there. I don't know what they can do. Like but they were around, you know, they were in Return of the Jedi. Like
you see it walk around in the background.
So
shit.
Like
these things the Bomar Order, shortly after Jabba's death, the monks took over the palace and allowed a bounty hunter to join them until he found himself unable to leave the planet. then Bib Fortuna took over the palace before he was killed by Boba Fett. So that's why they're there. Is they owned this place for a little bit.
Oh goddamn! Okay, cool.
Which is interesting, but also I saw this thing.
Who's to say that do we think Jabba built this place up? Who's to say the Bamar Order it wasn't
shot.
Originally theirs and Jabba seized it?
He almost certainly stole it. No shot did he? You think he even ordered a place to be built? That's not Jabba style.
He just stole.
He just says, "That's a nice place. This is mine now."
Yeah.
I did, Colton. I feel like you. I mean, you guys both might recognize this, but I know you watch a ton of like movies and stuff. This almost looked like the like super old timey movie. You know how like whenever people would run around because like how like the film worked back then, they looked like they were running way faster than what they were.
Oh yeah.
That's what these things like limbs moving look like. Because like how they would stop and then like go super quick.
Yeah, it's like
whenever
the
they moved, but then the scurry. It looks so weird. And
it does. It looks it looks robotic and like kind of just sped up. But regardless, inside the palace here, we spent a couple minutes on the 2-second shot outside the palace, which just goes to show how we can talk about just about fucking anything. Inside the palace, 88 is briefing Boba Fett and Fennec Shand about the businesses that were under the protection of the name that should not be spoken. And Fett's like, you can say Jabba. George's like, I just thought I just didn't want to hurt your feelings. I thought you'd be
offended. I thought you'd, think less of yourself because you're worse than he is.
Well, now I'm offended.
Right. Yeah, now I'm offended. Thanks, asshole.
Yeah, right. But I thought that shit was hilarious. And 88 goes on to explain that following the, quote, sail barge disaster, which we see in full effect in Return of the Jedi, there was a power vacuum in which Bib Fortuna assumed Jabba's mantle. And under Bib's eye, Mos Espa was divided among 3 families. The Trandoshans, who took the city center with the Aqualish, who took over the Workers' District, and the Klatooinians, who took over the Starport and the Upper Sprawl. And I like that now we have the 3 families on Tatooine. It's not the 5 families; it's the 3 families. But since Master Bib did not have Jabba's power, he relied on uneasy alliances to preserve his tribute and title, along with giving a lot of money to the mayor Mok Shaiz. And Fett's like, so where does that leave us? And 88 explains that everyone is waiting to see what kind of leader he is. And when Boba asks about the assassins, Fennec explains that the mayor has no power and believes that someone else has to be behind it. And Boba speculates, maybe the Hutts. And Fennec's like, you want me to ask around? Boba's like, yeah, hold off, we'll see. But still, this uncertainty, it seems that the Hutts are the ones that are a problem here. But I'm beginning to think more. I'm more and more in my camp that I was after the first episode than I was after the second. There's another invisible hand in this shit. And I think I'm back on the Crimson Dawn Kira train.
I could get behind that a little bit, but I almost do think that it was the mayor.
I think the mayor is taking his shot.
Yeah, I think that the mayor was like knew. I already promised, Tatooine to the Pikes because he did, which we learn later. Right. I think he, knows. I already promised him to the Pikes. The Hutts are going to get here, realize that this planet is already promised to someone else. They're going to dip because it's not worth their effort. It's once again just a giant fucking ball of sand. So they're just going to dip and say, all right, cut your losses, move on. This asshole, though, that has some random connection to this planet for no reason at all, is going to stay here and try and take over the planet and just going to cause issues for me. So I really do think that it was just the mayor just being like, I'm just going to try and, cut this off before it becomes a problem. When we see by the end of the episode, it's going to become a problem.
Right. All right. Fair. But next after that, one of the Gamorrean guards informs Boba and Fennec that one of his vassals seeks an audience with him, and I like seeing the Gamorreans just like talk. They're like, and 88's just got to be like, yeah, I think he said this shit. And despite the lack of an appointment, Boba allows him to enter, and the visitor turns out to be Lortha Peel, a watermonger in the Workers' District. And I don't know, do either of you guys recognize Mr. Lortha Peel here in terms of the actor?
Oh no.
No.
I really enjoy this guy. I've seen him in a few things. Here, let me get his name pulled up. I recall him most specifically from Barry, Stephen Root. He was also in. Did you guys ever watch Dodgeball?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
You gotta get angry. You gotta get mean. The guy who L for Love, like, has the goggles and like has to get mad when he's playing dodgeball.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, he's a great. It was funny. This episode featured like 2 guest appearances that I was like, I fucking love both these actors.
I can't wait
one more
the
than the other.
I can't wait to talk about the other guest appearances.
Oh yes, that's amazing.
Also, real quick, since we got off the topic a little bit, the Jabba's palace. It is that order's monastery. He literally did. Jabba just showed up and he was like, "Yeah, this is mine now. This is my palace." And it says, despite that, Jabba allowed the monks to still roam around his appropriated palace as he enjoyed the gruesome sight of them. So he literally showed up, just said mine. He was like, "But I like the look of you guys. You guys are fucking
my
gross
kind
looking.
of scum.
You guys are fucking gross looking. I love it.
I
You can
love
stay.
it. Keep them around the border. Let them walk around.
Let them walk around. People
Let 'em
will be
roam.
super fucking grossed out whenever one of them walks up to him.
Oh yeah. But 88 asks what his petition to Lord Fett is, and Peel explains that, well, sir, nobody respects you, and everyone's like, oh, so that's how this is going to start, okay? And
even 88 was
you
like,
you better not talk that shit. And Boba's like, okay, it's okay.
The droid giving him instant loyalty. I mean, that was just cool. Like, the droid was the first one to speak up, you know? Like,
right.
Not Fennec, not Boba. Like, I don't know. That was pretty cool.
I really did appreciate that. And Peel explains that ever since Lord Fortuna's death, the streets of Mos Espa have turned into chaos. And Boba's like, I haven't heard shit about that. And Peel vouches that this is true and says that he is insulted on Boba's behalf at the disrespect that these urchins are showing him, following, you know. And they're like, what? Say it. Say it with your chest, Lortha. And he's like, well, the assassination attempt. And Fennec, says that they'll look into it and waves for him to get the fuck out. But he's like, well, what about my petition? And he explains that a gang of youths, they've been stealing his inventory, and that this did not happen under the previous daimyos. And Lortha says that he is insulted again on Boba's behalf. And Fett's like, so your inventory is water? And Lortha's like, yes, I broker the sales on behalf of vapor farmers. And Boba's like, I grew up surrounded by water. And this little bit here where Lortha's like, well, Tatooine was once covered entirely by water. It's actually fascinating. They're really, really, like, I think we're going to get that explanation, which I never would have anticipated.
I don't even want that explanation. To an extent, I'm convinced they're going to find a way to get the water back.
Like,
could you imagine?
Didn't you say something about how he's going to turn Tatooine into Camino in the first episode?
I think we talked about it, but I think I said he was going to turn it into Camino,
right?
Because I went that further step is stupid.
But like, it's more realistic than ever.
I agree with you. I think the fact that they keep just being like, it used to be covered in water though.
When the oceans
come on, man,
dried up, like with the
they keep like, trying to nudge us, and it's like I feel like they're trying to give us a hint right now.
You have a crime war where everyone's struggling to figure out who's going to lead us. The civilian population just like, well, whoever wins at the end of this is going to be our leader, and we're going to have to accept their ways no matter what. Imagine somebody puts water back on the planet, and one of those people is someone in the war. Like, they win. Like that's how you win. You know,
until
it's over.
the water coming back to the planet floods this entire town, because it isn't just like a giant fucking crater, isn't it?
That's kind of the thing, is that like the society has now been built on the idea that there's no water.
Dome.
Well, but I mean, isn't
Dome.
like this entire like Mos Espa, isn't it in a giant
it's in a
giant
pit.
Crater? Yeah,
The
it's in a giant
pit.
pit. Yeah. So I think what would be hilarious if they're like fighting over it, and then he finds a way to bring water back. So he's like, I'm gonna bring it back to the people.
The thing is that
and they come back and it's just a giant fucking lake.
We're giving all these crime lords a little too much credit. I don't think any of them are going to be able to terraform Tatooine. And
listen, I don't know. I'm telling you, Jabba's going to find the great melon at the center of the planet.
They do have hyper, they can go travel through at light speed and stuff. So who's to say?
That's how he's going to find it. He's going to go find Slave One. Or wait, Slave One's destroyed. He's going to go find a new ship. Okay, he's going to go light speed into Tatooine, but stop at the perfect time and just be in the giant melon at the center of the planet.
In theory, could one if someone had a Star Destroyer and they were just this whole bitch would just explode. They could just destroy planets with their ships, right?
No. I mean, in theory, yes, they should.
Multiple planets too. You could just line up, to hit multiple on your way out.
I don't know if you're surviving. I don't know if the ship is surviving the initial hit.
Well, because it's there was some dumb.
Well, it is traveling at light speed.
It doesn't matter. Well, but it doesn't matter. You're going
planet,
light speed into a planet. Both things are going to,
Nah. If you're going fast enough, you go through whatever.
You go through whatever, but it doesn't. No, but you have to be hard enough to not break as you go through.
Nothing is as hard as the speed limit to the universe.
That's
the speed they're going
the
faster.
Speed of light doesn't make you hard.
They're going faster than the speed limit of the universe. They're going through anything they go through.
No, they're going through it, but they're also going to be destroyed in the process.
Not as quickly as you'd think.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly as quickly as you'd think.
I love this theoretical physics, but when Boba asks,
Joseph, I took physics 1 and 2 in college.
Hey, I stopped after I got a C- in AP physics. All right, that was it for me. But Boba asks about the gang, and Lortha explains that they're half man and half machine. They modify their bodies with droid parts to make themselves even more deadly. And I'm over here thinking oh, goddamn, we got some General Grievous-ass motherfuckers up on this planet. These guys are going to be menacing. They're going to be a fucking problem. And Lortha's like, I need you to purge the streets of Mos Espa of this scourge. Yeah, and in return, I'll double my tribute.
I'm 100% there with you, Colton. I was like, God, are these guys are going to be they're going to have human torsos, but then they're going to have all robotic limbs, and they're going to be menacing, and so they're going to be strong, and all this stuff. And we pull up, and it's turns
out this is just a fucking boomer complaining about teenagers.
100%. It's they show up, and they're like, oh, I have a robotic eye. I can see things. I
have a fake forearm.
Which, I mean, I get it.
No, very effective, and clearly works to their advantage.
And also, if we had that in our world, 100%, we have people who are, tattooing their entire bodies and doing all that body modification without robotic limbs. Are you kidding me? No chance we wouldn't have that one person that's robot from the neck down.
Oh my God, that's perfect. I hadn't even thought about the fact that that's probably what this is a metaphor for, is body art.
Yeah, it's body modification, which is already, there are people that, from my perspective, are already going insane with that, and they don't even have robotic limbs. Are you kidding me? If I could just be cut my leg off from the thigh down, and I could have a robotic leg in a heartbeat.
I mean, there's a line that's kind of about this, and then Boba says, keep an eye on it. It's the guy with the robotic eye, and he's like, no, don't worry about it. I paid for a lot for it. I'm proud for it. I'm proud about it. Yeah, I'm proud of it. So
I gotta know. If you guys could replace a limb or something like that, would you guys do it? Like perfectly healthy, not like, oh, I lost my arm, I'm getting a robotic limb, but it's like, I'm perfectly healthy, you're cutting my arm off.
Cybernetic enhancements.
Yes.
Like we're talking
Yes.
about theoretical things that have not
Yeah.
happened yet,
Yeah.
not just a prosthetic.
Like this type of thing, not
I
like
want to make
cut
that
off
perfectly
your arm.
clear that we are in no way discussing things that happen in the real world right now with prosthetic
My
limbs,
left arm
because
is gone.
that's completely different. That's a whole other thing, and those people I'm
Oh my
incredibly inspired by.
Think about the handies you could get from that.
Okay, my left arm is useless. Like I can, my left arm it's like useless. I could use a fully robotic left arm that would give me 2 dominant arms. I could throw a baseball 500 miles an hour probably, with my left arm if I wanted to, like throw anything at much speed. So like I basically have a gun on me at all times if I could just throw a small object. Like my left arm, guaranteed it's coming. Like it's coming off if I can replace it. I've thought about this at length. My legs could stay. Or I'd replace both my legs.
That's the thing.
Then you're never tired anymore.
I think I would go legs first. If I'm completely honest, I think I would go like one or both legs first. Just because of the fact that I feel like I don't touch myself with my legs. Not like that way. I mean like touch my parts of my body with my leg. But I feel like
I like having feeling in my hands. Yeah. That's a different thing altogether.
Well, I'm assuming you would still be able to you would still have feeling in your hands. I'm going with this is like cybernetics. I'm assuming you're they're connecting this arm to your nervous system and you would feel things. What I'm going with is I feel like the sensation of oh man, what a long day at work. Let me rub my neck, and I go to do that, and it's just a robotic hand rubbing my neck. I feel like that would be unsettling.
Yeah.
Unless we went full cybernetics, where it was you have a robot arm, and then there's fake.
If I had the opportunity, I'd just make myself a robot.
Oh yeah,
that's just the easier solution.
Just all right. What do you want today?
If I really had the ultimate decision, I would just get a 6-legged spider droid and put my brain in a bottle of nutrients and just have it carry me around.
We were talking about an unseen party that could be in this, and who's to say it's not them? Order. Yeah, what if they've been planning? They've been planning ever since Jabba took over
their home back.
Yeah, ever since Jabba took over, they've been pissed. They've been pissed. And they're like, oh, we're going to look into the future. We're going to do some monk shit, and we're just going to plan the day of reckoning. We're going to Tatooine.
The leader of the Bomar Order. Papa John.
My God.
Yeah,
guys,
Papa John Shatner.
We are so wrong. I figured it out. All right, the Bomar Order pissed at Jabba. Jabba finally gets killed. They're like, sweet, we got our home back. They get their home back. Bib of all people comes back and takes it from them. They're like, all right, fuck this dude. We're planning the Day of Reckoning. Day of Reckoning, they're going to bring water back to Tatooine and kill off everyone on the planet except for them at the same time.
Full circle. Full circle. That's what
They're bringing water back. They're taking back their home. They will be the rulers of Tatooine.
Even when we go off on a tangent. Tangent, it's coming fucking back. I'm telling you. But later that night, Boba, Fennec, and their Gamorrean guards walk through the streets of Mos Espa, and they approach a group of cybernetic human youths chatting by a fire. And Boba's like, "Yo, where'd you get that water?" And one of the women named Drash replies, "They stole it." And Boba's like, "Well, that's a crime. Theft is a crime." And one of the dudes, Scad, we got Drash and Scad.
I'm really. Do you actually know their names, or are you just reading them off?
I'm reading them. I didn't.
Because at no point during this episode, I
don't think they say their names.
I feel like they did. I feel like they did at some point, and if they didn't, perfect. It excuses me from all responsibility. But I feel like they did, and I made no effort to remember them because I was just like, nah, I don't need to know their names. It's girl with the robot arm, dude with the robot eye.
Yeah, Drash, and I believe Scad is the guy with the robot eye. He says, he goes, "Well, dude, we shouldn't be charged that much for water." And Boba tells them, farm the water yourselves, dig into the ground, get to the black melons, and nurse yourself on their milk. But Drash tells Boba, go back to your fucking palace, all right? And Boba warns her, watch your fucking tongue. Don't be talking all that dank. And he reminds her that the daimyo of the district vows to bring order. And Drash is like, fuck it. You ain't even really a crime boss. And Scat asks Boba why he allowed the watermonger to charge them a month's wage for a week's worth of water. And I was like, yeah, here we go. I told y'all from week 1. Boba, a socialist. He says, the girl adds that they don't have any wage. Boba replies, you live in the workers' district. You should be working. And the girl replies, there is no work. Look around. And Boba approaches the gang, removes his helmet, and that human level, takes the helmet off, is like, I'm just going to talk to you right quick. And he tells them, y'all don't got work? You do now. You're with me. And, you better fight as good as you talk shit. And Lortha's like, yo, wait, what the fuck? You're just going to give them jobs? That's not at all what I wanted.
I'm sorry. You missaid the line. As you hope you fight as well as you talk dank.
He actually said dank.
Yeah, dank.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying it, because you said it earlier in this line. Whenever he said it, I was like, all right, just I get it's Disney, and you can't be like, I hope you fight as well as you talk shit, but just say talk shit.
Well, that's the thing. There is a curse. Dank Ferric.
Yeah.
So,
I'm assuming dank is just it's jizz to jazz. It's jazz to jizz. It's shit to dank.
Well, then that's how they would say it. They wouldn't say shit.
I know, but it's
they
just
would say dank.
No, I get it. I do. But it's like jizz. It's just so stupid that it's just like, you don't need to make up new words for jazz. Space jazz is just space jazz.
Yeah, but here's another thing, though, is that I have actively thought in my head, I think there are points in the sequel trilogy where one of them says hell. And I do think a shit is thrown out in the sequel trilogy. I do think we get expressly a shit stated in the sequel trilogy. But every time I heard a real world word like that, I went
maybe it's
whenever I think it was Poe that went what the hell? And I was like,
you don't have a hell.
And Boba's all for the
you
one.
Believe in space wizards.
He's the metaphor man. He's never going to use the word that you're thinking. That dude's vocabulary is
the metaphor man.
Thinking about it, since if they do have a shit man, because what a dank ferret, is that what you said?
Dank Ferric.
A dank Ferric. Shit Ferric. That wouldn't be right. No, nothing's called a shit Ferric. But
I like to think of that curse.
Dank is supposed to be trash. That might make more sense, because like a trash panda.
I like to think of it as Dank Ferric is shit fuck.
Would be funny if that was the case. If that, full circle, if that's the case, I can get behind them using dank instead. If Dank Ferric is shit fuck.
But regardless, Bob was like, well, how much do they owe you for stealing this water? And Lortha's like, that'll be 1,300 credits for the water. And Bob was like, give him 500. And Lortha's like, wait, this isn't nearly what it costs. And Bob was like, well, go to Mos Eisley then. Do your business somewhere else. And Bob was like, and cut your fucking prices, dude. It's water. It's water.
For the sake of this, dude, in my mind, I want to be like, maybe they stole a fucking a truckload. How they have those things to fill up pools and stuff, where it's a big tanker. Maybe they stole a tank of water. And I thought that for a second, but in my mind, I'm like, no, this dude's just an asshole.
No, yeah, they stole enough water for the four of them for a couple days.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
They stole a week's worth of water, and it's it's $50 worth of water. And he's like, I want 1,300.
Well,
credits.
They say 1,300 credits is how much the water is worth. He charges a month's wage for a week's worth of water.
Yeah.
So, this is overpricing the shit out of water.
I mean, they're making $14K credit, credits a year. off those numbers. So that's how much they're making. If that's dollars, if they're trying to equate that to dollars, they're not doing too hot.
They're living in poverty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
and so I love the response to just being like, if you don't fucking like it, go somewhere else, dickhead. And
exactly.
he's like,
well, and that's the thing. That's what's awesome about him.
I don't want to go sell my water on Mos Eisley. Ugh.
No, and then that's the other thing too, is that we're getting like this.
Go sell stuff in St. Louis. Ugh.
I get this like note of like classism and general like from Lorth Appeal, like he's trying to capitalize as much as he can.
Yeah.
And like Mos Eisley just isn't good for business.
Yeah.
It's the wretched high for scum and villainy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just not good. And
never even thought that like water would be like a such a like valuable, like obviously it's a valuable resource on Tatooine, but I never thought it would be like
something that you're paying a lot.
I don't know.
For.
Yeah.
And, like I thought the same thing, but then I thought about it more. I was like, you know what? Like we're paying for water now, which
we have water.
Make whatever argument you want to make about it. But on Tatooine, it legitimately does make sense to have to pay like money for water because they have water farmers. Like their whole job is they sit out in the desert and fill up tanks of water because it's so hard to get water.
Damn.
And also, so I want to know, does he now have to pay double the tribute? He
did get rid of him.
He cleaned up the streets. And also in double the credit, I'm disappointed that he's not like, or double the tribute. He wasn't like, give him 500. All right, tribute's doubled. Give me 200 of it back.
No, I'd be willing to bet that like this is kind of like Boba's accepting these 4 workers as the tribute. Like you brought these people to my attention, and now they work for me.
Yeah.
Would have been hilarious if that 500 he was like, you know what? I'll just keep this for.
It would have been funny too if he like give him 500 credits, and then and then Boba was like, well, okay, I got these guys off the streets. Your tribute, it was 250 credits, right? Go ahead and run that shit back.
Or also funny if he was like, give him 500 credit. Actually, 500 double tribute. I'll just keep the 500.
You can give me 200. Actually,
you give me 200 credit
money for getting these people. But Boba tells the youth,
you owe me money, and we'll call it even. Fair?
Exactly. Boba tells these kids to gather up their gear and follow him, and Fennec backs him up, and the youths depart on their colorful little speeder bikes. The youths.
All right, so I know we talked about it a little bit in the Patreon. Are we going to talk about the colorful speeder bikes and the hatred that these things received?
I want to save that a little bit more for like the chase sequence later, whenever when they're really on display.
When they're really shown of like, ooh, look at this bright pink speeder bike.
Yeah. But outside of Jabba's palace, we get like a little callback to Return of the Jedi Special Edition, where I don't know if you guys recall, but outside of Jabba's palace, we watched this exact thing happen where like one of the giant frog-looking things snaps his tongue out and catches one of the flying bugs.
I'm so happy you mentioned it. That might have been my favorite scene in the entire episode.
Oh, I'm a sucker for
reason.
I'm a sucker for Return of the Jedi, so like any callback to Return of the Jedi, I'm gonna fucking love. And this show's just been full.
I didn't even.
Jedi callbacks.
Sorry, second favorite scene. Favorite scene comes up in a while. But I didn't even connect the Return of the Jedi part. I just saw them pan to Jabba's palace, and before going inside with him in it, they decided, let's show a fucking frog eating. What did it eat? Did it
Two things. I think like something was flying, and then something else came in. Attacked that, and then he got both of them. I think.
That's what I thought. Like something ate something. He was like, "Sweet, thank you, double meal."
Yeah, it's always a bigger fish.
They were just like, "All right, we're gonna pan onto
the bigger fish.
we're gonna pan onto the thing. All right, now pause for a second. We're gonna watch this frog eat some prey. All right, now we're gonna continue panning. It happened, and I paused it, rewound it to the beginning again, and rewatched it because I was like, I don't know why. I love this.
I loved it too. But when we get inside, Boba's again in his back to tank, and he experiences some flashbacks. watching his father Jango Fett depart in the slave one in Tapoka City.
Is this the same one we got like a couple episodes ago?
It's
Is
a
this
little
the exact same
extended.
scene?
It's a little extended, but
Well,
it ends up being the same.
Okay, well, because I know there was the other scene where there's a little bit more before where it shows like the young, Boba Fett's face.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the exact same scene?
I think so. And then in this one, they just added his face.
His face too. Okay, then maybe I guess I just didn't notice it on the other scene. I don't know why. Something about the CGI that they did on it I just did not like.
About
I didn't
Django
notice
Logan's
it the first
face?
time. Yeah, like the young.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, like, it sucks,
some...
but, like, the guy who played young Boba is now, like, 25.
Yeah, no, and I get why they did it, and it makes perfect sense, but it was just, like something about the way they did it, it looked too, like, it almost looked like they just, like, it didn't look like a reflection. It almost looked like they were just like, here's his face. Like, here's a picture of his face.
I can see that.
And whenever they did it, I was like...
Is that memory supposed to be, like, the last time he sees Jango? Like, that's, like, is that him flying off to, like...
No,
or like what?
He's
like
on the planet when he dies.
Yeah,
so like,
I mean,
they had to
went
have
with
gone
it.
there together.
So what is this like memory supposed to be? You know,
I think it's just memories of like
just like of him on Camino. Like it's
Yeah.
just simply like remembering his past. Like
Yeah.
you don't think like because they're showing us more and more and more, you know, of it. And I'm like wondering if it'll develop into something. You know, he'll watch something more happen. You know, something happens like. I don't know, as a child, like something happened to him in that moment, you know, and
I mean,
we're
it would
leading
be
up to it. Or
See, that's
like
the
that.
thing is that like I can't think of anything that would be too big of a threat at this point in the timeline at Camino to his dad, and I know this isn't the last time he sees his dad because he watches his dad's head get cut off. So like,
yeah, I didn't know like if maybe he went like Django went off first, you know, and then like Boba was like had a bad feeling, you know, or something, and so he chased after his father and like went on to the planet and then wound up seeing him die or something like that. You know, like he left after his father or something like that.
No,
I mean,
know.
like that would be an interesting expansion on the story. Like
I thought
but,
whenever
like,
they went to that planet, that was whenever Obi-Wan was chasing them.
Well, it was the big war. It was like Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Padme were
locked up.
Were locked up, and yeah, it was like saving them.
Didn't Obi-Wan like?
So yeah, Boba was just on the planet long before.
I was gonna say Obi-Wan was chasing him, got captured, didn't he? So then Anakin and Padme went to go save him.
Well, these are separate things because Obi-Wan ends up hiding from Jango Fett, I believe.
He hides from him, but I thought isn't that how he gets to whatever planet it is?
Oh shit, which one is it?
It's the planet of the, insect dudes.
Yeah, the insect people. I can't remember which one it is though.
The factory one.
Yeah, fuck. I hate that it's eluding me right now, but it's like right there on the tip of my tongue.
Here, Jabba Fett.
Jango
Fett. I don't know why I said Jabba. Jabba the Hutt. Jango.
Geonosis.
Fett.
Geonosis.
I was gonna say Jango Fett Death Planet.
Yeah, Geonosis. That's right.
Let's just look at it. Was that Attack of the Clones?
Yes.
But yeah, that's the only thing. Like his memories. I was thinking that this one would develop into something happening to him, and then it's like a big revelation of like, oh my god, something. But like I was trying to think of what it could be, and like,
yeah, I think it probably just like it's more of like a symbol than anything. Yeah. Just like he probably doesn't have a ton of happy memories, and I think like it's a mix of them trying to blend a nostalgia for his youth with the fact that they don't have that actor back. So like they can't insert scenes with Jango Fett and the son without it being like, well, that's weird. Like,
what if okay, I thought of one
what if they're
way
both
that
in
this
suits of
scene
armor?
Could play out is if it plays out a little longer and then you hear, Boba, you okay? Like you hear Omega. And then you're like live action Omega, and then like bam, like ooh.
God, can you imagine how much? Oh, that would be the most hated episode of this series.
I'm Omega, yeah, I'm Omega. Like that, you hear like, oh man,
there was so much hate on Omega. People would hate her joining live action,
Nah,
and I
dude.
would love it.
Oh, I would love it. I love Omega. Like, I can't express to you enough. Like, through all the shit that we've watched, like through the Mandalorian. I mean, like in between seasons 1 and 2, I missed Grogu a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But I finished the Bad Batch, and I was like, I need me some Hunter and Omega in my life.
I need me some Omega.
Omega.
Yeah. So
brother.
So
you
Attack of
okay?
the Clones.
Alpha.
Obi-Wan is chasing after them, hides, puts a tracker on them, follows them to Geonosis, finds the separatist meeting on Geonosis, is kind of camping out there, gets caught, captured. Then this is also, while this is happening, Anakin is off on Tatooine killing some, the women and the children too. Killing, all them, and then they figure out about it, or find out about it, then they go off to Geonosis to try and save Obi-Wan, and then that's whenever all the, stuff goes down. And young Boba Fett watches his father's head roll.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested. I have a question now just about the clone process. So when Boba and Omega are created, are they immediately that age? Like the age we see Boba?
Okay,
that's
as a
fair.
young one?
Okay, because let's be honest.
Because I got something here. Like I was thinking, like if they are just that age, like what if this is like the first time he's seeing his dad in the slave one fly away?
Yeah, or maybe that's like maybe because you have to think he probably stayed there for a while, like.
On his own.
No, what I'm saying is Jango might have stayed there for a while to raise Boba. So maybe this is the first time he sees Jango leave.
Maybe.
But then what I was going to, that's a good point though, Colton, because let's be honest, babies fucking blow. Like they're
not only do babies fucking blow, but like it also comes to the point where it's like, okay, well, if Omega and Boba age at a normal rate, were they born babies and they were?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They grew at a normal rate, and then everyone else was just created 8 years later. No,
I feel like almost what you would want. Like babies are cute for like 6 months. Let's be honest, they're cute for like 6 months. Then they get annoying for like 2 years. Then like around the age that they're like 4, they're tolerable.
I'd argue that babies never stop being annoying.
Oh, I mean, yeah, they never stop being annoying, but at least by that point, their use starts to outweigh their annoyingness.
Okay.
So, like, I'd almost argue, like, let's be honest, if you were given the option, if you could just, like, fast forward to the point where they were, like, 5, I feel like there's a decent handful of parents that would take it.
If you could WandaVision this shit, turn back around, Billy and Tommy are now 12.
Yeah.
I mean, you just got to think
I don't know that you go all the way
to
to 12. I feel like you would go like 5 or 6, because at least at that point they're real human beings by that point. So you can actually you can teach them and that kind of thing. And I know like a lot of people they get joy out of that part.
You
so
think
maybe
the
that's
Kaminoans are raising thousands and upon tens of thousands of little babies?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm asking specifically about Boba and Omega.
The clones age quicker, they're like 0 to like 6-year-old. That's probably
newborns.
That's probably like 6 months. But I agree with you. I feel like
Jango definitely was like
he was like, I want a son, and they're like, all right, but you want him to age normally, right? And he was like, well, of course.
Not for like the first 8 years though.
Yeah, but and then they're like, all right, so do you just want us to give you like a baby, and then you have to take care of a baby out in fucking space as a bounty hunter? And he's like, can we skip the first like 8 years of his life though? Can you just like create him as an 8-year-old?
I mean, he's already just him. It is a clone, so it's not like his childhood is going to be any more or less eventful. It's going to be the same regardless.
Let's be honest. How much of your childhood before age 6 do you really remember?
Yeah.
Almost none.
Damn.
If anything, it's
we're
like
definitely
passing.
We got to get Omega. We got to get Omega.
Like Colton. I am firmly backing the train of they popped
out 8 years old.
he popped out of like a cocoon and was an 8-year-old.
Okay, I'm with that. I was just curious because I was like, the significance of this memory, like it could, like, I think they're just gonna go the route that it is just a memory of him on Camino.
Yeah.
You can't expand on it much. I don't think we're gonna get scenes with this CGI'd young Boba talking to anybody. I think we'll just mostly get this. But I was trying to project some sort of meaning onto it, like that runs deeper.
I agree with that. I think really the only, like, there are two options. One, they have it be the first time he sees Jango leave Camino. So that way it's like, this is the significance of that memory. Or it's that, and then also it's like the first, we see a young Omega walk in and be like, "Are you okay, Boba?"
Would be interesting.
Which would be interesting. I don't know if they're
I actually think she'd refer to him as Alpha.
Yeah. That'd be sick. That'd be so cool.
Which is, if anything, they should have done the opposite. She should have been Alpha? And he should have been Beta, since he's Boba.
What's interesting
Omega.
to me,
she's the end.
I'm joking.
Like, he's the beginning, she's the end.
Yeah.
I also wonder if they ever even. I don't think they ever even knew each other. Like, I think they were created and separated.
See, I don't know though. Maybe they did. Because that's the thing. Like, if
Omega would have been a lot more like, "Where's me brother?" Like.
Well, but he'd been gone for a while by that point.
Okay, he's been gone for a while, but it never comes up.
I mean, like think about when we've seen her though. We saw her in passing at the beginning, like the first episode. We saw her like kind of interacting with the clones because you know what? They're the closest thing she's had to brothers since assuming that she did know him, since her brother left with her, left with Jango and never came back. So her real brother's gone, or what might have been she might have seen as a brother, whatever's gone. So she was interacting with them, and then everything after that, they were on the run. I don't think she was sitting down to be like, "Man, I really miss my brother, my other brother." And by that point, she hadn't seen him for ages 8 to 12. Fuck that kid.
Fair. But there's nothing traumatic. About your donor father asking for a child and then picking the other one, and that's not something we're going to talk about.
See, but that's the thing, though, is he didn't act like he didn't. That's where
they
I would
were both
say,
created, and he ended up with the son. I know he picked the shit.
Oh no, he obviously no. But what I'm saying is, like, I don't think he asked for a son, so they created Boba as his son. They decided,
and then they went out of their way to create
Omega. Is
a side. We want another source of
Palpatine.
DNA. Interesting. We want another source of DNA. We're going to create another one, so we always have Jango's DNA on a source that's not fucked with. So we're going to have her. And there's no, like, if that's the case, there's no way they didn't see each other. And he's like, "Why the fuck is there another human child on this planet?" And she didn't say, why is there a human girl on this planet? And she didn't go, "Why the fuck is there another child on this planet?" All the other dickheads are 30 years old.
That puts me back on the train where she doesn't know he exists.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Until the revelation in the Bad Batch.
I feel like there might be like passing. They know each other exists. They don't know. They might not know the significance of each other though.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
I don't know, because like Boba is like known. Like Boba is known to be the son of like Jango Fett, like across like like I don't know. It seems more public knowledge than Omega though. Like Omega seems to be actually like kept on the down low, like as a secret. Like they don't want the word of Omega getting out. Like it seems.
Also, think about who she was raised by. Boba was raised by Jango to be his son. He sees him as his father, not, "Oh, I'm a clone of you." Omega was raised by Kaminoans, and she is literally just, "Oh, well, we're clones of each other. We are the same. I'm just a female version of you, and I don't age correctly." She is very much more that the cold, hard, scientific mindset. So I don't think she honestly probably doesn't give a fuck about the fact that
she just realizes that she can have a brother with any of them. Like any of them is as much of a brother as Boba is than Hunter and all of them.
Yeah, so she probably doesn't care about the fact that like, oh, he shares the same DNA as me. So do, you know, or like 5 million other things.
Fair. I don't even remember where that started.
Yeah.
But
all right,
the
yeah,
scene,
so let's just get right back on track, because I think this went off track. Did we ever get past the cybernetics?
yeah, we actually got to the.
We got to the
back
frog.
tank.
And the back, yeah, we got to the frog. That's where. How did we get off track at the frog?
We didn't. We got to the back to tank and the flashback on Camino.
Okay, sorry, I forgot about the flashback, and I was like, I really thought for a minute, I was like, we got off track at the frog and got to Camino. Wow,
no. We got from Camino to Camino.
Okay,
like that was all a very singular train of thought.
Okay.
It just went on for a while.
Okay, and it makes me feel a little bit better about us.
Yeah, but the scene then moves to Boa riding a bantha among his Tuscan Raider tribe, where the Tuscans watch him with a sense of with an air of respect. And Boba rides into the desert, into Mos Eisley. And in the background, I don't know if you noticed, but we saw a couple pit droids behind their big-haired owner. We got a little Peli cameo, which I know that everybody who hates how small the universe is had to love for a moment that they didn't spend any time expressing the fact that this is who that was. You know, they're just like, little Easter egg, she exists. Bye. But he asks a couple Jawas where the Pikes do their business, and the Jawas jabber their little Jawaiese, and Boba rides on his bantha through the town. And God, these shots of Boba on his bantha are fucking beautiful.
It's just setting up him on his Rancor. We'll get to there, but oh man, like
that's like one of the most exciting things about the season. But he passed the spikes of the Stormtrooper helmets, which is kind of dope, which implies that it's at least been the time since he fell into the Sarlacc to the point where the Death Star is blown up.
Yeah.
And he's been out there with them, so that's cool.
Was this? Oh, yeah, never mind. Never mind. I was thinking, for whatever reason, I was like, was this Death Star 1 or 2?
2, yeah.
Because I forgot about the fact Death Star 1 didn't, that was long before.
Yeah. The Empire didn't end with Death Star 1.
Yeah.
It took a little bit more. But
yeah.
Nevertheless, Boba tethers his bantha outside a building guarded by a couple Pikes, and Boba states that he has business with the Pike Syndicate, and they're like, all right, go on ahead. I just thought that was funny. Like, there was like no sort of vetting. They were just like, yeah, you probably do. Go on in.
I mean, based on how they react, like the like head Pike dude reacted whenever he walked in there, I'm gonna go on with an assumption and say that like they knew he was coming. Like they had already been like, hey, a dude in a giant in a cloak with a big spike thingy on his back is gonna come up.
Just let him in.
Just let him in. And also, how many people walk up to like it'd be like walking up to like a mafia's headquarters and be like, I have a meeting with the Dawn. Like if you walk up with that much confidence, they're probably going to let you in because
that's the guy. Yeah, like
you're either supposed to
probably
be there.
Does have a meeting with the Dawn.
Yeah,
you're
either supposed to be there
about that,
or you're just really stupid.
Yeah, but Boba walks down the stairs and meets with the Pike leader, who has received his message, and the Pike leader explains that protection arrangements are all a part of doing business in the Outer Rim territories. And Boba says, we'll take your payment then. And the Pike's like, I've spoken with my superiors on Obadiah, who are unwilling to pay protection to more than one party. And Boba's like, well, we are one party. I'm collecting on behalf of the Tuscans of the Dune Sea. And the Pikes are like, yes, I see. But the Kintan Striders have already collected protection money for the same territory that he lays claim to. And Boba's like, they don't need to pay protection to the speeder bike gang since the Sand people far outnumber them. And Boba says, the Sands have belonged to the Tuscans since the oceans of Tatooine have dried. And the Pike leader says, I get it, I do, but I'm unwilling to pay more than one party. And frankly, from a business point, it's like, you know what, that's fair. I'll go deal with this separately. And the Pike tells Boba that he hopes he understands, and Boba vows to resolve this and says that he will not hear from the Pike leader will not hear from the Nick 2 Sand Flyers again. And the Pike says that he looks forward to their partnership. Boba rides across the Dune Sea on his bantha to return to the Tusken camp. And as he approaches the encampment, he sees over in the distance some smoke arising. And Boba walks on foot to the got a barker. Beater barker. But Boba walks on foot to the Tusken village, only to find that the clan has been slaughtered. And he discovers burnt tents and several fallen banthas. And he finds the remains of Tuskens lying everywhere. And Boba also recognizes the marking of the gang that he had encountered earlier. Boba goes ahead.
Sadly, officially say that was not Fennec Shand. Officially now, you know.
Well, I would say the one that you thought was Fennec Shand, we don't see her body.
We don't? I thought we did. We saw
see the leader of the camp's body, like the elder who threw the sand in his face, or the spice in his face. I don't think we see that Tusken, which I think is inherently important. Yeah, I take her to be the armorer of this here establishment. She just finds a way to survive.
So you're saying there's still a chance?
I suppose there is still a chance. But I will say this was the most devastating scene so far in the show. A nice little parallel to a couple moments that we've seen on screen with Luke's homestead burning and him having to go on his hero's journey, and Omega watching Camino burn. I felt like this was his moment there. And, I mean, it really does suck, you know.
Damn.
Yeah, really.
Because we got this group who we've been like, I was just like, oh, finally, we're getting more on the Tuskens. You know, we're getting this story of these native peoples who have just been misunderstood all this time. And then they get absolutely wiped out. And I was like, well, I suppose that they were going with a little bit more of a realistic flair, huh?
Well, I suppose there goes that.
Yeah, I suppose they are really trying to go with the real-life parallel in which people often dismiss those who lay claim to their ancestral lands. This sucked.
Joseph, I'm sorry. I am very sorry for your loss.
Well,
just gonna throw that in there.
We did,
as I said while you were gone. I don't think we see that Tuskens.
We don't, but
are they all?
And I mean, maybe
they put such an emphasis on that Tusken in the past, and then don't show that Tusken's body.
That's fair. That Tusken.
I think
might
it's
have
fair
gotten,
to assume
captured.
she's alive.
Yeah, that Tusken might have gotten captured or something. But
how large is the Tusken population? Because Boba says they far outnumber this gang. Whatever.
There are a bunch of.
Was that their whole? Was that no, all of them or most
that
of them?
Or one
that's
camp.
Small. That's a small. Yeah. That's a fraction of their population, right?
I mean, I don't know though. Their population's probably hurting. The first Anakin, now this. I mean,
that's true. Anakin.
I mean, the way that I look at that,
they had 20 years to between Anakin and now.
Yeah, the way I look at that is that that's a couple of villages that have been slaughtered, in the grand scheme of an entire planet. Covered in Dune Sea. Regardless, doesn't lessen the tragedy. However,
nah, it's okay. Who cares?
I'd be willing to bet that Tusken took probably the last remaining speeder they had and left.
No, that Tusken. If anything, if that Tusken's still alive, it's captured.
Fennec Shand.
There's no think about that Tusken. There's no way that Tusken is all right, I'm gonna just dip on you. That Tusken.
I don't think she dipped on them.
Dipped on out of necessity. I think
that Tusken.
Her.
If that Tusken's still alive, it got captured because it was head honcho Tusken. So they're like, we're gonna capture you, and
why? Why would they capture a Tusken
to keep because that's the head Tusken
because
of
they
that
know
camp
that
to
it's
keep Boba Fett from.
I'm sorry.
To keep Boba Fett from trying, from attacking them anymore. To be like, we have something over you now. Stop attacking our gangs. we lay claim to to protecting the trains that travel the Great Dune Sea.
Yeah. See, I mean, okay, that's as good a reason as any
Yeah.
I could have thought of, but like,
just because I
don't think I give the Nick 2 guys that we've seen enough credit to think they would be that smart.
I have to imagine they're like, this is a gang that is
if that's something they did, the Pikes told them to do that.
Oh, see, what I was gonna say is this is a gang that's protecting that's like actually doing real jobs. There's at least one person that's smart and they're in charge. So like one person has to have some brains. Or maybe their species, they like can pool their collective brain power into one.
They have a hive mind.
And into
the
one
Nick 2s
fully
are a hive mind.
Yeah, into one fully functional brain that can make real decisions. It makes a decision and then it disperses back to all of them and they're stupid.
But regardless, Boba goes ahead and cremates the bodies, and he recovers his Gothy stick, and after paying his respects to the dead, Fett rides away on his bantha. And I look forward to, people haven't gotten the complainers haven't gotten their look at the fully caught up in vengeance, hell-bent on destroying Boba. And I think we're about to see a whole bunch of Nick 2s die next week.
And you know what? That'll be what they need. This episode 4 will get them back into the series. And then
frankly, they should have already left.
And then they can just complain for 3 more episodes.
Right.
I think the title of the next episode is just going to be War.
It's going to be Death and Destruction.
Like, because...
Or Blood-Fueled Rage.
I'm assuming that the backstory that we're getting along with the current story is going to parallel, because it has been the entire time. So, I guess we'll get to it, but like next episode, something's bound to happen in the present time. So and it seems that something is bound to happen in the past, Boba's not going to just wait a couple days, He's going to react.
Be pretty action-packed next week.
So I think everyone will get their fix of the action Boba, but man, I don't know. This is the side of Boba I like more, is
the contemplative, just feeling Boba. It is really interesting to just explore his feelings, because that's something we've literally never done.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the typical route of the Star Wars hero to befall an excruciating tragedy before going on and becoming the hero they're supposed to. And I'm interested if we do see Boba go further into the hero route, or if he will remain sort of this, like, he's already kind of secured the anti-hero nod, I'd say, but I'm interested if he falls more on the anti side of that than the hero. But from this flashback, he is awoken in what is the most excruciating jump scare we've ever gotten in Star Wars, with the Wookiee Black Chrysanthemum standing over him, pulls him out of the bacta tank, and Boba has to fight to get the upper hand, but it's not going to go his way.
Mm-mm.
Black Chrysanthemum just absolutely beats him the fuck down. Boba grabs a melee stick and fights back, but the Wookiee just keeps throwing him around, and Black Chrysanthemum lifts him up, and Boba tries to poke his eyes out, but Chrysanthemum bites him, and before the Wookiee can squeeze the last little life out of Boba, you hear the bones cracking, and frankly, he probably should have broke his back.
I would assume that was probably like his ribs.
Right?
Yeah.
Ugh.
He's probably just
regardless,
cracked.
Damage was
damage was dealt.
Yeah.
I'm saying that since I'm gonna go out on a limb and say they're not gonna go with the Boba Fett broke his back storyline. No.
No, yeah, they certainly aren't, as we continue to see. But one of the youths that he picked up from the street gang of Mos Espa stabs Black Chrysanthemum from behind, and they surround the Wookiee. One of them hurls electric nunchucks around one of his arms, but Chrysanthemum brushes it off, and then they shoot at him, but their blasters bounce right off his right off of him, and Boba hits the Wookiee, but he brushes off the attack. And the two Gamorreans... hold up. Boba's got the worst security of all time. This man is getting ran up on way too much. Where the fuck are you guys? How'd y'all just let this guy walk into his room?
Yeah. Getting assassinated, or like the assassination attempt in the streets of Mos Espa, that makes sense. You know what? It was early. He only had the two green dudes. Can't remember what are they?
Gamorreans.
Gamorreans. Okay. He only had the two Gamorreans as like security, so fair enough. Him getting run up on here just made zero sense. Like, it would have made more sense if he Black Chrysanthemum beat up the two Gamorreans like on his way in and then made his way in there. That would make sense. Like, if they didn't help the fight
for everybody, like nobody's on the night shift.
Yeah, it's like, what?
I mean, it is their first day on the job, you know, like, do they really expect their first day to like defend an assassination attempt? You know, like
no, I guess not. Like, I guess
what
the
Gamorreans doing?
Is that this is the middle of the night and everyone is asleep. Like, that's the only way this is excusable, and even then, it's a lack of preparation.
Yeah, even then, it's still not excusable.
Yeah, but
it'd be like honest. I mean, not to the same extent because he has way more security. But it'd be like if the president got assassinated right now, and they're like, "Well, what happened?" They're like, "Sorry, it was midnight. We were all asleep. They snuck in," and it's like, what?
Their operation's small right now, you know.
Yeah, they gotta grow. They gotta grow. But these the Gamorreans can't handle Chrysanthemum any better than the rest of them, and but before he can finish them off, the youths converge on the Wookiee, and Fennec then appears and is like, "Wait a second, stay the fuck back." And I loved watching the fight move, like knowing where everything is in correlation to the throne room,
and knowing what was going to happen, what their way out was.
Yeah, but
no, like, so now we know like the layout of the building. Like, that was
we know where Boba's room is in correlation to the throne room, and like just like exploring that more. And I had the same thought about like the streets of Tatooine at multiple points, like later on in this, especially like getting to watch them go through it and stuff. Like, it's like we're getting to know this place better than we ever have, and we already knew it better than every other Star Wars place there was. You know what I'm saying? Basically, like
outside of like Coruscant,
and like.
I think that's
top
like
two right there. Coruscant and Tatooine.
I think Coruscant is like number one, and Tatooine is probably two.
Yeah, but they drop him down. Fennec drops him down, and she activates the trapdoor, and Black Chrysanthemum slides right on in, and the Wookiee tries to hold on with one of his paws, but Fennec's like, "I'm gonna go and throw a knife at that hand," and he falls right into the Rancor pit. And
I wonder how she got that knife back. Do you think she's like asked for it back whenever they let him out? She was like, "Hey, by the way, can I get my knife back, dude?"
Oh yeah, that was stuck in your hand for a little bit.
Yeah,
she's got to like go down in the Rancor pit and like dig through the sand because he already ripped it out and stuff.
It's just part of being a master assassin. You know, it's part of the job.
Or alternatively, she's like, that's lost forever.
I've got a ton of knives.
It's lost forever. I'll just go grab one from my nightstand.
Right, but Fennec tends to the wounded Gamorrean, and Boba tells her to get the Gamorrean into his bacta tank. And I was like, "Hey, it's not just for him. It's like his team goes down. You know what? Get them in my bacta tank. They need the shits." But Boba and his forces watch Chrysanthemum below, growling from the cage. And later, an R5, like a little R2 type unit, rolls up, a little astromech. And I was like, "Hey, okay, so Boba's got one of these hoes all of a sudden." It serves Boba and Fennec a little bit of a food for what looks like quite the occasion. And if I had to guess, we might pick up from a point right here at this table next episode, trying to talk things down before a certain war. with, meeting the three families, asking the Trandoshans, Klatooinians, and Aqualish to come together and defending their home against the Pikes, perhaps. Nevertheless, though, Fennec tells him, you're the head of a family now. You should enjoy the trappings of such things. And Boba's like, I need to respond. Everyone's watching. They're waiting for me to make the next move. And Fennec advises him, eat. And Boba's like, I got to send a message. And this was the most mob bossy Boba has sounded so far. The whole, just the whole, I got to act now. Everybody's watching.
Oh, come
waiting
on,
for
eat,
me to
boss.
make the next move.
Eat, boss. Gotta send a message.
I got to send a message.
Yeah, like,
And Fennec's like, you already, and this was some great logic by Fennec. You already did. We got like one of the meanest bounty hunters of all time locked up in your dungeon right now. That is a message. And
letting people
Fennec
know
advises,
Boba is still,
he's still about
still
that.
not to be fucked with.
He's definitely not about to be fucked with. And Fennec advises Boba here, show your hand. And Boba's like, these are huts. They're like, letting them have time only gives them the opportunity to strike again. And 88 interrupts the banquet with news that the twins have arrived.
Oh, they're outside.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
And Fennec's like, oh, look at that. Boba orders that the gates of Jabba's former palace open. And him and Fennec walk out to meet the twins, who are carried on their litter, of course, by several servants. And the Hutt brother says they have come to apologize. And the Hutt sister admits that they sent Black Chrysanthemum to kill Fett. The brother claims that they are sorry and offer a gift as restitution. And lo and behold, we watch a full-blown fucking Rancor get repulsor lift up.
And
like,
here was my favorite scene of the entire episode.
Oh my fucking god, I loved it.
Who came right along with them?
Danny
Trejo.
fucking Trejo.
Dude. I was so confused because I didn't.
Guess who's the Rancor keeper?
I originally planned on watching this episode at like 2:00 because it comes out at 2:00 in the morning still, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, at 2:00 in the morning. Completely forgot about it that morning. I was awake, I was watching other stuff, didn't even think about it. Woke up the next day. Remember, I was like, I gotta watch the Book of Boba Fett. But before I did that, I was eating and I was just like scrolling through Twitter, and I saw fucking Danny Trejo tweeted, "Guess who's the new Rancor? Whatever keeper." He said, keeper. And I was like, "What? Excuse me? What do you mean Rancor keeper?"
That would be an insane way to find out, because it was insane to find out in episode. It would be wild to find out by him tweeting.
What's crazy is I was as excited about the Rancor as I was the Rancor keeper being Danny Trejo. No.
So the entire episode, I just kept thinking, like, I saw that and I was like, there's not even they don't have a fucking Rancor. What do you mean you're the Rancor keeper? And then they come rolling up in a fucking Rancor crest hill, and I was like, oh my fucking god, Danny Trejo's in Star Wars.
And it's funny.
What?
We were talking all that shit last week. Like, I was over here like, what if they got another Rancor whenever they dropped him into the pit? And I was like, but there's no Rancor down there. There's no way for them to get another Rancor. And then they just got another fucking Rancor.
And in all fairness, we talked about it last week, and we were like, maybe Rancors are just fucking expensive. And this would be the way out of it. They're like, hey, listen, yes, we tried to assassinate you. No, we're not sorry, but as like a form of payment to make up for it, here's a Rancor.
Here you go. But
here's some money without actually giving you money.
Yeah, exactly. But Boba tells the twins to clear off Tatooine, and in return for considering a truce. And the Hutt sister agrees, but for a different reason. She tells him that there is something he should know. The Hutt brother explains that he had been lied to since Jabba's territory was promised to another criminal syndicate. And when Boba asks who it was promised by, the Hutt sister explains that it was promised by Mayor Mok Shaiz. And the Hutt brother says that the pair will be returning to Nal Hutta since the Hutts do not want war. And the sister says again, the war is bad for business. And a Gamorrean guard leads Black Chrysanthemum to the gate, and Boba offers to release the Wookiee if they renounce all claims to Jabba's legacy on Tatooine. And the Hutt brother says, "We're leaving. You should do the same. This shit's a worthless rock. Sell the Wookiee." And the Hutt brother describes the Wookiee as their tribute to Boba. And the Hutts depart with their entourage. And so this is interesting. This frames it like Chrysanthemum was like a slave to the Hutts, which I thought was really interesting. Just because, like, that's never really how bounty hunting has worked up to this point, as far as we know, anyway. So it was just interesting to see that they had, like, it seemed like they felt like they owned Black Chrysanthemum, so they could just give him away.
The way that he said, sell him back to the, the gladiator pits, it almost seemed like he probably was just like was formerly like a slave at the gladiator pits. They bought him and were just like, you are our personal bounty hunter now. And so he just, he did bounty hunting jobs, but probably just didn't get paid for them.
Right.
And
no,
also,
yeah, it is interesting because I'm also. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I also love that their reaction of just being like, yeah, no, we don't want him. You do whatever you want with him. That's just at this point, he failed his mission. Too much of a hassle to take him back. Do whatever you want with him. Deuces.
Yeah, the thing that's interesting to me is that Black Chrysanthemum is also is like a comics based character, like originally from comics adapted to the screen, and like he's been framed like every other bounty hunter. So, like, it would be interesting knowing what his story is in between the point we see him in the comic books and the point we're at now where he was fighting in the gladiator pits and stuff like that. But regardless, Boba orders the Gamorrean guard to release Chrysanthemum, and Fennec points a gun at him like, you do some shit, you're getting clapped. And Boba speaks to the Wookiee, telling him that he has no hard feelings. He knows it was just business, as he was in the very same business. And Boba advises Chrysanthemum not to work for criminals in the future. And Chrysanthemum growls in his Wookiee language, Shuriwook, and then he does his little trot away, which was the funniest part of the episode to me. His little run away was the funniest shit ever.
This was the other thing. People were fucking shitting on this relentlessly.
His running?
Twitter. Yes, because it's so fucking goofy looking. The way that he ran away.
So funny. I thought it was awesome.
Well, I thought it was funny too, but it's just like it was such a weird, like, and also like, why did he run away like that? Like, he could have just walked away, but instead he did like a weird like jog run, and I saw multiple things of people making fun of it on Twitter.
It was just kind of weird. Like, why didn't he just walk away? Like, why did he start? Was he scared of Fennec?
It almost looked like he was trying to catch up to the Hutts.
Yeah, like it was just kind of like out of place. Like, it was a little strange, but
I see the way that I took it, and I just like rationalized it in my head. It was just like he took their freeing him as sort of a do it, like, leave before I change my mind sort of thing.
That makes sense.
So he just kind of like looked back and was just like, all right, I'm going to get going. But Fennec asks Boba to consider if releasing Chrysanthemum was exactly a good idea. And Boba replies that we had to choose between releasing or killing him. And when Fennec asks if he believes what the Hutts are saying, Boba responds that he has no reason to believe them. He reasons that they will benefit from their enemies fighting. So that's where it's like, that's where it's confusing to follow what's happening, who's responsible, who's at fault here. And that's why I still think there's an invisible hand moving chess pieces right now. Just because the Hutts are probably like, we're going to hang back until we figure out exactly what's going on here.
Oh yeah, if Boba wins, they're 100% coming back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. War is bad for business whenever it's with another crime family.
Yeah, I'm with you for sure. But
I'm gonna place a prediction. This is the biggest I'll ever go. This is the most ridiculous I'll go. But if it's right,
You've already gone. This is big because you've already gone.
Is this-
Finnick is the
I
Tuscan
was going to say,
warrior.
is this
Which
more
could
ridiculous
still
than,
happen.
than,
there's
than the
still a
Phoenix
1%
Tuscan
chance.
Raider and Hayward is...
She plays into this new big theory though,
Ultron.
but it's not
Ultron?
as Finnick. Yeah, okay, no. Okay. So
this is
I
as
really
ridiculous
think-
as you'll go for this theory.
I really think whether it's this season or maybe next, because I don't think this is gonna have like another season, right? Like it's not only
Probably.
7 episodes and that's it. Maybe, who knows? But I think
I would agree with you. I feel like
I think
almost
the
certainly.
big moment is Mace Windu. Like we're gonna see Windu, I think. If I had to guess.
In season 2.
Yeah. That's why I said probably more of a season 2 moment. But like the idea of bringing water back to Tatooine, I don't actually think that that's that out there. Like legitimately, like they've been focusing on water and throwing the little tidbits of, actually Tatooine did used to have water all around, all that. Like they're kind of like tossing little seeds. So I could see Mace coming back, and Boba and Mace actually becoming friends and not just killing each other. And then Boba taking Mace through that experience he had with the lizard and the spice. But Mace could like handle that a lot better because he's a Jedi and he has control over his mind. So wherever he goes to get that branch, he would actually be able to be like, he knows where that tree is or wherever. So maybe he has there's this whole like other thing of Tatooine, like with the sand people and, all these different cultures, they all worship, this one thing. And whatever that tree is, like maybe there's something to the planet where like the water's there. It's just that like they're
It's
not
just
giving it to the planet because like they're treating it like shit, like it would be pretty cool to be like the water's here and we don't need to go anywhere to get it. It's just like locked because you guys are being pieces of shit. And like
It would be interesting if they went with the whole Tatooine is actually a like some sort of magical, mystical, force-based planet with their.
Because
that
what
would be
did Boba go through? Like during that experience that he had, like
I think he just got really high and
dude,
found
but
a
he
stick.
came
was
back with
tripping ass.
He came back with the branch. Every one of them comes back with the branch because they all go through that same process. They all make their stick.
Yeah,
Like,
I
that's
think
how
they
they
just
like.
I think they just get really high and the lizard takes control of your brain. They get really high. The lizard just steers you to its home
Yeah,
tree.
it directs you.
They
It
pick
directs
up a
you
branch.
like the wolves in Rebels. Like whenever they run and like you teleport into like the
Maybe.
other. Like,
All right, so
whatever.
you're going with the lizards are force beings like the
Nah, I don't know.
what are
I mean,
those
like,
aren't the
here's the
lizards,
thing.
not
In a
lizards,
universe
are they?
like this, is that so outlandish? Because how the fuck else are these lizards consistently taking them to a fucking tree? It's clearly something mystical. Like, it's
Told
like,
you, they're mind control lizards.
Weren't the
I get
witches
that they're
of
mind control
Dathomir
lizards,
mentioned?
but
like,
how
name
are they
dropped?
mind control lizards?
Didn't they name drop the witches of Dathomir? Like,
Yes, they name drop the witches of Dathomir
What was
in
that?
this next part, actually.
Okay, I was gonna say, what was that in reference to? Oh
Yeah.
yeah, the
Let's go.
yeah. Yeah,
Let's
we need to
move
talk
on
about
here
this
then
scene.
with Fennec offering to arrange a meeting with the mayor. And she describes the Rancor as, quite the gift. And the creature is housed in the lair of Jabba's former Rancor pit. And Boba asks why the creature just lies there. And Danny Trejo in all his glory explains, well, this Rancor is depressed. And Boba's like, this beast can feel such things? And immediately, upon all of this, you feel far deeper pain for the man in Return of the Jedi who was bawling when his Rancor got killed by Luke Skywalker. The Rancor keeper explains that, they're emotionally complex creatures. Boba asks why it has blinders, and the keeper explains that the creature is a calf bred for fighting, and that he saved this creature to train himself. And he adds that it imprints itself on the first human that it sees. And now that Boba is here, that's who he's going to be. He's going to be the imprint. And immediately I'm like, oh fuck, I feel so bad for this fucking guy who got his Rancor killed in episode 6. That sucks. But I mean, like,
the alternative is Luke Skywalker dying. So
yeah, there's also the fact that I'm interested to see how Boba utilizes this Rancor, because knowing what he knows, there's no way it's staying in the pit.
Oh, not a chance. And also, I decided as soon as they go on and talk about it, And he was like, because they talk about the witches of Dathomir and how they used to ride them. And then he's like, I will learn to ride this. Immediately, I was like, if I don't get a fucking scene, because they keep talking about how, oh, I did not hear your litter arrive. I was not aware that your litter had arrived. And if we don't get a fucking scene of Boba riding a fucking Rancor through the streets
and then flying
of Mos
his
Espa,
jetpack down to the ground.
Oh my god! Could you imagine?
Well, it's absolutely what's going to happen. It's his new fucking litter.
The big dick energy respect that would command the fucking the Pikes come in and they're like, everyone's like, oh, okay, we'll serve you now, and he comes strolling in on a fucking Rancor. Immediately, they're all going to be like, nah, he's the new king of Tatooine. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is the guy.
He is the guy.
Boba asks Trejo for permission to approach the Rancor, and the Keeper says that Rancors are peaceful unless they are threatened, or I'm assuming kept in a pit.
I was going to say, or trained to kill everything that enters their pit.
Yeah, right. And Boba strokes the creature, pets it a little bit, and prompting the Keeper to notice that he likes it.
He found a good spot. Yeah, he found.
Yes, he did. And Boba decides, he's going to spend time with this Rancor. And the Rancor Keeper encourages him, saying that Rancors can become very, very loving creatures. And I think we kind of saw this with, Omega and Wrecker and all of them in the Bad Batch.
Also, I've decided, because I said it last week, if there are rats in Star Wars, there must be cats, which means there must be dogs. I've decided cats obviously already exist. Loth cats.
Cool,
cats. Whatever. Dogs. Rancors.
The
giant fucking dog.
Listen. Complex emotional creatures. Okay? Great relationships with humans. Okay? They have a spot where whenever you scratch it, they sit there and they lean into you and just sit there and just be like, more, give me more. It's a dog. It's a giant fucking dog.
Okay, I'm with you a little bit.
Is.
I'm with you a little bit, but like maybe there's something closer to a dog.
Oh, there almost certainly is. But I have decided.
I'd argue the Tusken creatures are closer to dogs.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Regardless.
Don't act like if someone was like, "Hey, do you want a giant Rancor as your dog?" You wouldn't. It'd be like, "Yes," in a heartbeat.
Or like an Ewok. An Ewok.
That one gets a little bit tougher.
It's more like a little teddy bear, or like
also
a little
teddy bear person.
Yeah.
Too.
I was just saying, those are like
not like a pure animal.
Yeah,
True.
Those are real people. Those are like
I guess
fully sentient beings.
Never mind.
No, but Boba had assumed that they were bred to fight, and the Keeper explains that they are very powerful fighters, and that is what most people know. But they're legend, but the man of legend. But alas, he explains that the creatures form strong bonds with their owner, and the witches of Dathomir were said to have ridden them through the forests and fens, which a live action mention of the witches of Dathomir. How about that, buddy?
Let's go.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
We need a live action witch of Dathomir at some point, right?
It's coming.
Like it's an inevitability.
When Mace Windu goes through the lizard experience, he's gonna talk to to one of them, probably.
Well,
when this grand theory comes true, we're gonna get everything.
A live action Witch of Dathomir might just be in the form if they ever have what's his name from the game from Fallen Order.
Oh yeah, Cal Kestis.
If he ever comes, you might get what's her name?
Mirren.
Yeah, because she is if we're gonna get a live action Witch of Dathomir, I'd much rather it be her than some old
I'd like it to be her too.
Yeah, because she
I'd really like it to be her. But Boba says he's just like, I want to ride this shit. And the Rancor Keeper says, what? And Boba's like, come on, man, I've ridden beasts 10 times its size, which is a callback to the Star Wars Holiday Special in which he is riding a massively long-necked creature.
Okay, I was not aware that was what the callback was to. My first thought whenever he said that, I was like, what fucking creature are you riding that's 10 times the size of this thing?
It's like, are banthas really that big? I was like, is that what he's referring to?
And also,
if you go check out Boba Fett and the holiday special, I think it's on Disney Plus now. It's like the story of the faithful Wookiee or something like that. Boba Fett shows up riding a beast that is 10 times the size of a Rancor.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
And also, fully respect him just immediately saying, and I want, whenever he's like, they used to ride them, blah blah blah. I fully respect just the immediate. I will ride it.
You will teach.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Because
I will ride this motherfucker.
I will ride it because if I'm in his position and Danny Trejo says to me, they used to ride
Which
them,
is the Dathomir used to ride these things.
I'd be like, well, I want to fucking learn how to ride this thing. Are you
Right.
kidding me?
we will start
honestly,
today.
Awesome.
Honestly,
It's gonna be awesome when we seen Boba ride the fucking Rancor, man.
borderline the English Mastiff that I have. If he was a little bit bigger, I might be able to ride him around, and I'd do it in a heartbeat.
But the Rancor Keeper warns that it will take a tremendous amount of discipline, which I think Boba has in no short supply. And he agrees to begin the lesson today.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna get that shit rolling. Like we're gonna get that probably much sooner than we anticipate.
He's going to maybe he's going to war straight up, just
Straight on the Rancor. Maybe he just pulls up on that bitch. But I mean, like I'm expecting like next week at the earliest, the week after that at the latest. Like I don't know that this is something they save if they're starting the lessons today. You know what I'm saying?
I guess it could take a while to learn though, and like get like the Rancor used to Boba and like stuff like that. Like it could, I don't know. They could play it like both ways. I see.
Yeah, for sure. But the Rancor Keeper tells Boba to stand before the creature while he removes the harness from its mouth and eyes, and Boba makes eye contact with the Rancor. And Boba approaches the creature and strokes its chin while making eye contact with him, and 88 interrupts with the news that Mayor Mokshai's office says that he will be unavailable for the next 20 days. And Boba tasks the Rancor Keeper with feeding the Rancor a whole fucking carcass from the larder, and he says that he senses the creature is hungry. And Boba tells 88 to inform Fennec to suit up, since they will not be waiting 3 weeks for an appointment. And the Rancor Keeper reassures the Rancor that, oh, he'll be right back, buddy. Don't worry. He'll be coming back.
What a fucking cast!
Oh, dude, I'm so excited for
wow.
And the fact that we're just gonna keep getting scenes with Tamara Morrison and Danny Trejo. Like those are two of the most electric personalities I can think of, and them just being on screen together. That's fucking amazing.
Yeah, I was whenever he first came up, my immediate fear, I was like, oh god, no, he's gonna be like one of the Hutt's like servants that's just like he's gonna drop the Rancor off, and he's gonna go back with the Hutts. And then like it showed him like going with him, and I was like, okay, maybe. And he's like, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna train it with you. And I was like, yes,
dude. Danny Trejo in this show is our like Queel in the Mandalorian. That's how I'm gonna. It's like he's teaching him to ride the blurred.
Yeah. Oh no, that means he's gonna die at some point. It's gonna be super sad.
I'm not looking forward to it, but Danny Trejo is the early option for someone meaningful that is not incredibly integral.
Yeah,
he's going out with a bang though.
Oh yeah, he's gonna ride. He's gonna die protecting the Rancor.
Oh yeah.
But next up, Boba, Fennec, and the gang of youths ride to the mayor.
You just keep saying youths. And it's just it's just so off-putting.
Is that like?
Have you ever watched New Girl?
I have not.
Every time I say it, it reminds me of Schmidt from that show.
Yeah, okay, yes, no.
Youths.
Yeah, no, I get exactly what you're talking about. And it's so weird to say, like to hear someone actually say those the youths. It's just such a weird thing to say.
I'm trying to bounce back and forth between like the kids, the young people, and the youth.
Yeah, no, I get why you're saying it. Like, it makes perfect sense. It's just so off-putting to hear.
I agree. But
to hear someone who isn't, like 70 say youths.
Right. I feel you. But they ride to the mayor of Mos Espa's office to confront Mokshi's, and Boba and Fennec walk inside the office and meet with the major domo of the establishment.
The
major domo. Oh, the major domo. The mayor will be back with you within a couple of days. But, he explains that the mayor's schedule is quite complicated, and Fennec warns him to be careful with his next words if he wants to continue breathing. And she gets her shit ready to roll. She's like, she put the hand on the gun, and the major domo, he's like, all right, I'll see if I can rearrange some appointments, and I'll be right back. And he walks into the office, locks the fucking door. And Boba, before that, though, Boba goes, don't you think that was a little heavy-handed? And Fennec was like, do you want this shit to happen? And then the door's locked. And it's like, good fucking job, Fennec. But, Boba and Fennec blast their way in, only to find it empty and deserted. And they exit again to rejoin their gang of youths. And the major domo, I'm only going to say the gang of youths now.
Oh, I know.
But
okay, so one thing that I don't get about this, I get this dude is loyal to the mayor, and the mayor's probably paying him good money, but what's the point in leading a car chase? What does that protect at that point? Just be like, oh yeah, no, yeah, the mayor's not here. Problem solved. Just, you can literally just be like, we can go in there. The mayor's not here. He's off world right now. He's off on a trip doing something. Just make up some bullshit lie. There's no harm. They
needed something for these speeders to chase,
I get why they did it, because they had to have a car chase. But my first thought was, I was like, what? At this point, you're just making yourself more suspicious by locking the door and dipping when there was no need to.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Or maybe that's him showing us that he's guilty. They're the guilty party behind all these assassination attempts. Maybe it's not actually the Hutts at all, and it was the mayor, but the Hutts are just claiming it and saying sorry. Sorry, we're the one who tried to kill you, just to not have him think the mayor actually tried to kill him. They immediately say there's no reason we should trust them. There's no reason they should trust the Hutts, because they're leaving Tatooine, and if everyone else just fights, the war is good for them if they just step away and they're a non-party in it. That is good for their business.
But they didn't claim the first assassination. They claimed the second one because it was obviously them.
Yeah, I guess
because it was Black.
I don't know.
So I don't think they weren't claiming that. Yeah, the dude that was sent to kill you in the streets, that wasn't them. That was I'm still 100% convinced it was the mayor's office, and that we know the mayor is guilty, or it might have been another crime syndicate, but I'm convinced it was still the mayor. But regardless, we know the mayor's guilty of doing some shit. He's up to shit.
I think
the mayor doesn't confirm they're up to something. We already knew they were up to something.
No, yeah, I think that the mayor is definitely guilty of the first assassination attempt, but I think that the mayor has had it set up to lie about who he is working in cahoots with. I don't think he's working with the Pikes, and I think the Pikes just also happen to want to take over the planet.
It's who's the mayor answering to? Is he answering to anybody, or is he
Yes. Yeah. No, there's no way he doesn't.
Yeah.
And for my money, this random mayor of Mos Espa is answering to the head of a crime syndicate, and I'm still there. I'm still with the Crimson Dawn sort of side of things. Because I think if there's anybody we know who would play this shit smooth, it probably would be Kira, who would be willing to wait, do what the Hutts are doing, but make everybody their fucking marionettes. Make everyone dance to the they're gonna weed out the competition, get this war to be fought, and then they're gonna swoop in and potentially later on be the problem.
Possibility of Thrawn? Do you think Thrawn has anything with the crime game? Because
not in the crime syndicates.
But I don't know, because he controls everything and he has to know everything. That dude's very it'd be surprised.
He's a control freak.
You don't think it would make sense for him to be in the crime game, but then him saying oh, of course I have to be in the crime game because I have to know how Jabba's next move. I have to know, like all, I don't know. Like
that to an extent, maybe, but he wouldn't be, down. He wouldn't be like
I'm
on
just
the
saying,
ground
fighting
level.
for control of Tatooine.
I'm just saying, like,
in
maybe
control of
like
Tatooine. He
the
would be
top answer is to Thrawn. Like the mayor answers to somebody, and then that somebody is like answering to Thrawn.
Well,
like,
no, there's like 8 more levels between that. It would be like, the mayor answers to someone in, let's say, the Crimson Dawn. They answer to, to Kira, and then Kira might, be working in cahoots with Thrawn because he's like, he's working with the crime syndicates. He's never going to be directly in control of any of them because that's just he has way more.
That's beneath him.
Yeah, he has way more pressing needs. He doesn't give a fuck about what the crime syndicates are doing.
Yeah, if anything, I'd be willing to bet that he has someone who is connected, who informs him on what's happening, rather than him being directly tied to it. If that be the case, and I have no doubt with a man of his resources that probably is in some way the case. Nevertheless, the major domo flees in a land speeder, and Shan sends her little gang of youths after him on their colorful little speeder bikes. And fuck you if you don't like these speeder bikes. I know George Lucas would have creamed his jeans looking at these things.
Well, and he might have. Good old Georgie.
He might have.
Probably did.
Good old Georgie boy.
Yeah.
I mean,
is that what we called him in the first episode? Was it Georgie? Was it something else?
I think it was Georgie boy.
Okay.
I think I called him Master Lucas, as his official name.
Yeah, you probably said something like that.
Control me, Daddy.
Yeah, and then like Daddy Lucas was one of them too. I'm pretty sure, but I mean, yeah, the direct homage. I mean, like, come on, this is who cares if it's Tatooine? Who cares if you wanted the Mad Max look? Fuck you if you didn't think this was cool. This shit was cool. It's some young people that are tired of Tatooine, trying to get some flash in their life, and there you go. Like,
there you go.
It's as simple as
I
that.
mean, like, it couldn't be more of an homage to like the George Lucas American Graffiti aesthetic. And I mean, next Friday, not tomorrow. Tomorrow we're covering The Godfather on the 52-year journey through film. But the Friday after that, we are covering 1973's American Graffiti. So it couldn't have been. It arguably couldn't have been time better. But it just felt like a direct homage to that era in general. It like couldn't have more clearly provoked those like the 50s cars aesthetic.
All right, I just need
that paint job.
I just so desperately now need Boba to get a black speeder. And then like Finnick to get like a pink speeder, and then they'll be the Power Rangers.
And then they all form together. To make the mega speeder. Yeah.
I saw something because I was.
They will get
earlier. I was trying
speeder.
Yeah, I was trying to look up a picture, trying to find a picture on Google of the speeders, and I couldn't find one. But one of them, I looked up Book of Boba Fett colorful speeders, and it just showed Boba Fett, and in front of him it showed 4 of the Power Rangers, and I was like, no chance, right?
Fucking chance.
No chance. And so I looked it up. They're not quite there because it's red, green, blue, and yellow. And so, like, there are, like, 6 Power Rangers, which would be, they need black and pink. Or there's, like, other, like, groupings of them with different colors. But I think that would just be fucking hilarious if they
And then there's always that mysterious white Power Ranger that comes in from out of nowhere, and there's Mace Windu, coming in, it's all connected.
Actually,
Power Rangers.
I'm sorry, you know what? I got off on a tangent. I lied. I don't want this because him riding a speeder would invalidate his ability to ride the.
Well, if he needs to get somewhere fast, though, you're not going to ride a Rancor,
I mean, we don't. Listen, we've never seen a Rancor run.
True.
Maybe they're fucking galloping.
Maybe they go on
if
all
he needs
fours.
to get somewhere that bad, he has a jetpack.
And probably a spaceship.
Yeah, and we see that whole jetpack on display here in a second whenever he apparently follows the fight from above.
I was going to say I thought the same thing whenever kind of going ahead a little bit with this, like after the car chase where he just they stop him and he's sitting there and then he just
lands
and I'm like, what?
This man was just
What?
like flying above, watching the whole thing
Exactly.
happen.
What
Just
the
like,
fuck was? Or maybe did he? You know what? Maybe he like just threw a tracker onto one of the bikes, and they like came to a stop, and he was like, "All right."
it'd be funny if they like showed cuts back to like every once in a while back at the mayor's office, and it's just Fennec and Boba like,
God,
like waiting for the chase to
God, these
conclude.
fucking youths, they take so long to get their job done.
Goddamn youths. But
Goddamn,
you know, they
kids.
chase the Major Domo through the streets on these speeders, and they avoid a protocol droid, knock over a repulsor lift. They destroy a painting of Jabba in his palace, which I thought was funny. Topples a tank of water, but led by Drash.
That was $1,300 worth of water.
It was. Led by Drash, the youths outflank the Major Domo, and two of them scrape his land speeder as the pursuit continues, and one of them uses his speeder bike through two pedestrians carrying a painting of Jabba, where they destroy a picnic table. And the Major Domo slams into a droid rickshaw carrying a couple biths.
I love that, like, once again, just so unnecessary for them to cut to the droid as it, like, looks and is like, what do I do? And then it just speeds up to, like, spin out of the way. And I was like, such an unnecessary
it's funny because they would have gotten absolutely fucking obliterated if they did it.
Oh, yeah.
But Drash manages to ride her bike over a building. And the shot they showed of her from below, where like she's like looking down with her arm. Oh my god, that was such a fucking awesome.
And
shot.
I love the speeders like riding along the walls. Like I love that they weren't just like we're gonna have some like we're just gonna have a car chase. They're like, no, we're gonna have a futuristic car chase. We're gonna have cars on walls.
I loved that shit.
Yeah.
I loved that shit. But you know, ultimately she brings her speeder down on top of the Major Domos. And it ultimately crashes the stand. It crashes the speeder through a bunch of walls into what looked like a thing of Melu runs. I don't know if you recall the Melu run episode of Star Wars Rebels.
Oh, that'd be sick if that's.
I did see the Twitter thing about that where I was like, "Ooh, is this Melu runs?"
They looked a lot like Melu runs, but just a little tidbit there, but. Boba and the youths converge on the Major Domo, Boba coming from the sky. And the Major Domo reveals that the mayor is working with the Pikes and that he is gone. Now, it would track that he's working with the Pikes and coincided their arrival with his leaving. You know, like he got out of sight. It was like, but it would also make sense for him to know a war was coming and to get out of sight.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's a couple sides to this thing, you know? But Boba asks later, you know, so he's just like fucking gone? Where the fuck did he go? But later, a Starliner carrying several passengers, including a ton of Pikes, lands at the Mos Espa spaceport, and Scad, the one with the cybernetic eye, is watching the Pikes and rides his bike over to the hologram station, and he tells Boba and Fennec that he saw at least a dozen of them. Boba thanks him for his good work, tells him, keep an eye on them. He looks at Fennec, looks back at him, and goes, I am so sorry.
Also, you know, for a guy with a robot eye, you'd really think you'd be able to count them.
That's true. If you give like an exact number, like
I saw 13 of them. Not
and here are their names and every, you know, like yeah. Like
I'm not gonna lie, I thought I saw a fuck ton more than a dozen.
I mean,
I wasn't counting or anything, but boy, it looked like a bunch of Pikes, like more than a dozen.
Like a dozen was just getting off the ship, but then there were also some that were already out there, just like chilling. And then there's like,
it is they. Oh, okay, no, actually, never mind. Don't listen to what I was thinking. I was thinking, but it is because I was thinking Mos Eisley because there were already some in Mos Eisley, but that's probably where they're coming from.
Probably. But Fennec, after he goes like, keep an eye on them, and he's like, I'm sorry, you know, I like the moment where Scad's like, nah, I'm proud of this shit. This is what I wanted. We're cool.
Mm-hmm.
And Fennec confirms that the Pikes arrived on a Starliner, and Boba thanks him for his good work.
It's about like 15 or so. Just did some quick. I just decided I was like, I actually kind of want to see how many. Like, It's, I saw at least a dozen is kind of an accurate figure because they walked out with a crowd of people. I think that's why you were thinking there were more.
Oh, okay.
So there
It
was
wasn't all pikes.
there were some people that walked out. Then there was a big group of pikes, and there's some, just some regular people.
I was just taking all the people.
Yeah, no.
I was like, that looked like a lot.
Because that's
more.
what I was thinking. I was like, I feel like it wasn't that many more than like, a good like, dozen or two. And yeah, it's about that. Once again, for someone with a robotic eye, I feel like you should have just been like, there's 17 pikes.
No, right. But Fennec tells him to let him know what he sees, and Fennec warns Boba that this is just the first wave, and that we're going to war. Boba looks at her, says, "Then we'll be ready." I gotta assume we go into war, or I think we'll start the episode more likely with that sit down with the Trandoshans and the Aqualish and the Klatooinians.
I mean, we have
that we heard about
4
earlier.
episodes left. 4. Right?
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
there's 7 total? Damn.
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
I mean, so we've hit, I mean, this is more of like the halfway point, like this next episode. And like something's gonna happen, like something is bound.
Judging by where we left this episode, I feel like with the flashback story, with us leading into what appears to be war, this is kind of the prelude. Like these 3 episodes were like, we're getting you familiar with what's going on, we're setting the stage, this is what's happened, and now we escalate. Now we go forward, push the story forward, ever onward, and we'll see what that ultimately amounts in. But I've gone back and forth a lot on like, I think I know what's coming to. I have no idea what's coming. I think I know what's coming. I don't know. And I'm still more on that I don't know thing. And I really like that. I don't know what's coming, and I don't really want to either. Like I want this to surprise me. I like being wrong in theories. That's more exciting than being right for me, because if I didn't see it coming, it'll be more fun. But yeah, I cannot wait for next week.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, people who were disappointed, I'm sorry that you feel that way. So I don't know. I kind of like, I don't really rank episodes. Like, I don't know. I don't have like any 1, 2, or 3 that I like more. Like, I just have been enjoying the show. Like every episode, I've not been disappointed. It's been like, I'm just excited to see what's going to happen next. And like, that's the point of these episodes right now, is like, just get you to keep coming back week by week to see what happens at the end, and
they're doing it.
Yeah.
And they are doing it. Miles, any last thoughts here on the Book of Boba and what we've seen and where it might be headed?
None that I can think of, just, besides the just true great desire that I have to see Boba riding a Rancor through the streets of Tatooine.
God, I cannot wait for that. You just know what's happening.
Yeah. Honestly, like, if we get that, I will be okay with everything in this series. No matter what happens, I'd be okay with it. It's all I want.
As would I. But yeah, man, I'm fucking with this show, and I think that concludes Chapter 3 of the Sarlacc Soundwave. This was the Penny Bloom Podcast. We were the Fets Fuckboys. I'm Colton Robertson, joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much for being here, buddy.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to have you, and thank you, Miles motherfucking Buttress.
Always happy to be here. I did forget to say something earlier, and that is I'm very sad about the fact that the Sandussy is no more. And then also, happy to be back anytime, man.
Oh, how about next week even? I think that might be a good time.
Probably.
But if you would, head to patreon.com/CoroBloom, where you'll find well over 21 hours of exclusive content at this point, with a couple new additions to the Patreon from earlier this week and a couple more coming on Monday. Very excited. And like right here, I'm actually going to insert a little snippet from one of our Patreons, so you get a little bit of a vibe as to what's going on there. So I'll let that play now. Beyond this, I think we've kind of covered the movie theater etiquette thing. It's pretty simple. I wanted I wanted to talk about Multiverse of Madness. I saw a tweet that was like, if you could pick one character from each row, who do you want to make cameos in Multiverse of Madness? And I was just kind of like, and like they were all the classic choices. You know, it had Mr. Fantastic from Fantastic Four and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, Michael Fassbender's Magneto, Ian McKellen's Magneto, all these characters who are in Marvel movies who have not been in the MCU yet, Blade, all that shit. And like, it is Multiverse of Madness, so it gets a pass. But if that shit keeps happening, if I keep seeing who do you want to show up next, I'm gonna have a real tough time being excited. Like, it felt good for the Spider-Man movies because it's the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, because it was.
I don't give a fuck if Eon Gruff's fucking Mr. Fantastic shows up. Okay, it'll be cool, but it's not like I'm gonna go, yeah.
I think the only thing that would might get that level of reaction would be like if we saw Hugh Jackman's
like the whole X-Men
Wolverine
team, like Charles Xavier with like Patrick
I think
Stewart and shit.
it's those three. It's the Ian McKellen, Hugh Jackman, or Patrick Stewart. If any of those three, like if it shows them like going like universe to universe somehow, and we see like the three of them, that would be cool. That would be a really cool scene.
And that's another thing is that
Fantastic
Four, mostly just cameos.
Yeah. I'm not like taking this as in like they're now in the universe. I'm assuming it's going to be like they're going to be popping
out, bye.
Yeah, in out, done. Fantastic Four could not give less of a shit about them showing up. Just because like you got to think about it. The movies you're picking from two different franchises. The original franchise, which was fucking like 15 years ago, and was one good movie and one mediocre movie, and that was it. Or you're looking at a franchise from, like 8 years ago.
2000 to 2020.
Huh?
With the X-Men, they went.
Oh no! I'm talking about the Fantastic Four.
Gotcha. Oh,
I'm saying,
I fucking forgot about their most recent movie.
Or one from like 8 years ago that was complete dog shit.
True.
And
I guess
that's like, it's just like, I just don't care if either of those, if any of those characters in it. Would it be cool? Sure. Would it be an interesting thing? Yeah. But am I going to be like, oh my God, it's the Fantastic Four?
I have to find the tweet because like, I just looked at it and I was like, I mean, any of these options would be cool, but they're not worth speculating about. Yeah. Like they're not worth our time and energy to be like, oh, I really, really hope this motherfucker's in the movie. Like, no, like I want it to be about Doctor Strange and Wanda and the shit falling apart. Like, I don't care about everything else.
I want Ralph Boner to show up.
I need Ralph Boner.
Honestly,
give me Ralph Boner.
That's my cameo that I want. Ralph Boner.
And there you go. So that's what you can kind of expect over on Patreon. So,
wow, huh? How about that?
We like to have some fun.
I fully agree with what was said there.
Oh yeah, whatever.
I bet you do. I bet you do.
I hope you just put in. I hope you put in the cum episode.
I probably won't. I probably put in something a little bit more recent and something a little bit
less terrifying,
more regular show friendly. Than that episode. That's one of the early ones where we discuss all the different names for jizz. But
and if you really want to know what we're talking about right now, just go ahead and
like I said, 20 hours of exclusive content. You got so much shit you can go work for on patreon.com/KoroBloom. Yeah, we've done a lot of Patreon.
No, I feel like I felt like it was way more than that. Oh, I guess we did. We have taken a break.
There have been days where we've just there was like a stretch where we just hopped on and went, and we completely
we did that because of the fact that we had that one episode where we filmed like a 4-hour Patreon while waiting.
Yeah, we were like, we don't need to do Patreon for a while. Yeah. Tyler didn't show up, and we went on for 3 hours. But yeah, if you would follow on Twitter @PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram @PennyBloomPodcast. If you're on Apple Podcasts,